Hey, founder, welcome to Founder Get Your Life Back. I'm your host, Jennifer Todd, your profit and performance expert. And today we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects because I'm a CPA would be numbers. Don't touch that dial. Stay tuned because this is going to be a good one. Are you ignoring your numbers because they're confusing or maybe you don't feel like they're reliable and you don't trust them? Have you been burnt before? Maybe you're looking at your numbers and you feel like it's a judgment, like, oh, these aren't the numbers I want. And so I must be a failure. We're going to dispel all of those myths today, and I'm going to help empower you, remove some of the pressure behind knowing your numbers. I know I want to call it a toxic or a disempowering message out there that if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. And I think that that's BS. I think most founders know their businesses very well. Even if they don't necessarily look at the numbers all the time, they know what money is in the bank and they know their customers and they know their business pretty well. I want to just dispel that shame and that toxic message right there. But there are a couple of things that you should probably be checking often in your business to keep yourself on track. And it will help you get out of the weeds because it's going to empower you to make more confident, faster business decisions. So, where do we go from here? First, we'll start talking about what I've seen in my experience working with founders and also being a founder myself. And that is that a lot of times founders will ignore their business finances because it's intimidating. Balance sheets are boring. They don't make any sense to people. They don't know when to look for them, what they even mean. And then the profit and loss is the exciting one because it's got that word profit in it. But then when you look at the bottom line, it's showing a loss and you don't understand why. There's also the fact that the books just may not be up to date. Maybe you think they're up to date and they're not. And so you're not really sure what time period you should be looking at. You don't have time to look at the numbers. I mean, there's so many different reasons why people don't look at their numbers. Even I ignored my numbers for a while, and it was because I knew they were bad. I was struggling for cash at one point in my business. And, it was really easy to let the books get behind. Even though I'm an accountant, I would always catch them up in time to do payroll. So I knew how much cash was in the bank, but it was a struggle because it felt like a personal failure. It felt like because my business was struggling, I made bad decisions and it was all on me. That is not necessarily the case. Yes, we as founders use all of the information at our disposal to make business decisions every day. Let's talk a little bit about that because that's really what this episode is about. It's about how to use the information that you have readily available to make the best business decisions every day. At the time that I was doing a really great job ignoring my numbers, I didn't have profitability information like I should have because I was lazy when I set my own books up. Honestly, nobody was paying me to do it. I didn't treat my business like it was a client like I should have. And I've since changed that. But my business was always the last one. It was the one that was not a priority because I was so busy serving all my clients that I didn't have time really to treat my business like it was a client, like it needed. The other thing was I just knew already that I was in a position where the cash balance wasn't good. And so I became one of those founders that checks the bank balance every morning in their business to make business decisions off of. And that is just no way to run your business. It will run your business into the ground. It will run you into the ground as the founder. Yes, I still log in and check the bank balance, as do all of my founders, even my 7 and 8 figure founders. They log in, and as long as I've got X number of dollars in the bank, I'm good. Well, that is not managing your finances. That is just checking a number in the bank at that particular moment. What can we do instead to make better business decisions and to kind of depersonalize the finances in our business? Well, let's talk a little bit about what our financial reports actually show us. So, when we stop treating our business financials as a personal report card or a personal judgment and start treating them as a cumulative representation of all of the decisions you and your team have made how you're performing, how your team is performing, but also the decisions that your customers have made, that your vendors have made. Okay. So, like, you don't have any control over what price your vendors are going to charge you. You don't have any control over if your customer is going to say yes or no to different sales opportunities. Your financials aren't all about you. I know that's a shock, right? But they aren't. They're about all of the decisions from all the different stakeholders in your business ecosystem. When we look at it from that perspective, it kind of doesn't hurt that bad to know that these financials aren't a report card about me as a founder or even about my team. It's about the business environment. It's about all of the actions taken from every stakeholder that affects my business. So when you think about that, does it remove a little bit of that personalization? I hope it does, because that's part of my message is let's depersonalize and really take a step back and talk about what your financials actually are. So one of the things I often say is that your financials are a hidden gold mine in your business. When they are set up properly, you can get so much good information out of your financials to use to make better decisions and to position yourself in a way that you can pivot and you can respond quicker and easier to all of the different stakeholders affecting your business that might be outside of your control. You can respond quicker and easier to your vendors when they make a price increase. You can respond quicker and easier to your customers when they fall off or don't renew or when they say no. That's the goal of having good business data and having good business financials, is to be able to empower you to make better business decisions and to set yourself up to be more empowered to pivot and to respond to all of the changes in the market. There's two really important non-negotiables in your finances that you want to be able to have a really good handle on in your business. And again, how does that feel? Like, knowing that I, as a CPA and business advisor, what I use in my business, I have two big things. Three, really. I do look at my team's time reports, but mostly two pieces of data that I use to make the business decisions in my business. And one of them isn't the daily bank balance. Okay. It is profitability. I know you're probably sick of hearing me talk about profitability, but I am a profit and performance expert and advisor, and that's what I do. And if your business isn't profitable, you're not going to be in business for very long. You're going to struggle. You're going to go into debt. You're going to be the banker of your business. It's going to keep you buried and in the weeds. That's not the goal. The goal of this podcast is to help you get out of the weeds. So we want to be profitable. The best way to improve your profitability is to have an idea of what offers in your business make you profitable. You want to be able to easily pull out of your financials a profit and loss that is granular. And when I say granular, I mean it goes deeper than just the profit and loss or income statement that's built into QuickBooks or Xero or whatever system you're working in. If you're a project-based business, you want to be able to pull a profit and loss by project, even by phase if you can, depending on how your system is set up. You want to also be able to pull it by customer. Now, if you're not project-based, you want to be able to pull a profitability report on your products that you're selling. That's going to give you the gross profit on that. So the price that you're selling it at minus how much it costs you to buy that product is your gross. That gross margin is what's left over to cover all of your business expenses like rent and electricity and overhead and salaries and all those things, plus some profit, right? We need to know that granular profit of the things that we are selling, whether it's services or whether it's products or if it's a mix. That's your test, is find out how much visibility you have into the profitability of your offers. The second thing that I always look at is, I call it my cash spend plan, really is what it is. And this is a very practical thing that I have to use for my brain, and it works very well. So let me tell you what it is, and then I'll tell you how it works for spenders and frugal people that aren't necessarily spenders, right? A cash spend plan is you assign a name to every single dollar that is coming into your business and every single dollar that goes out of your business. Instead of pulling your budget by category, by revenue or sales account, and by all these arbitrary expense chunks in your business on your P&L, you're going to have your customer list and every dollar that has come in to your business from that customer and that you expect to come in for the rest of the year. And also every dollar that has gone out of your business, whose name was it attached to, as far as your vendors and your employees. Now, for me, I don't get super granular on the employee part. The more employees you have and the more vendors you have, this gets a little bit harder to do. Okay. But for a business such as mine, it's manageable. How this helps me is that I'm able to predict how much money is going to be coming in every month. So my rows are the vendors, and then I have a separate sheet for my customers. The rows are the names, and then the columns are the months. Okay. And I fill it in with actual and then expected. So if we're in month, say July right now, I'm filling in as it's happening my expected numbers for July. And then August, September, all the way through the end of the year, I actually do 12 months out. So it's a rolling 12 months. So through the end of next June is going to have predicted what I'm expecting to spend for my vendors. And likewise for my customers, what I'm expecting to get in as far as sales from each one of my customers. What happens with that is every dollar has a name, and that keeps me in line because I'm a spender. I like to spend money, and thank goodness I can make money because you have to make money in order to be able to spend it and not get yourself in trouble. It works very well for letting me know if I can afford something. When I see something I want to buy, I know if I have any wiggle room in my cash spend plan to be able to afford whatever it is I'm trying to buy. Okay. Likewise, if you're more frugal and you're not a spender, you're a saver, then it will help you have peace of mind to know what's coming and that you've got the funds to be able to cover your expected expenditures. And that kind of frees you up a little bit. It takes that mental load off and allows you to make different decisions because you're not acting out of uncertainty and you're not being overly cautious. In the case of being a saver, if you're a spender like me, you're not just being careless with your money and you're not spending money you don't have and getting yourself in trouble. How would I know that? I've done that before. It works for both. Those are the two big things that I track all the time. A third thing is because I have people that work for me and all of our work is project based, whether it's recurring projects or even one-off projects such as a command center design build. So I have to track the level of effort my team spends on deploying the solutions that we have for our customers. And even when we have customers on retainer for our advisory services, I still have to track to make sure that my team members, their time is being allocated appropriately and that the pricing makes sense. We don't charge by the hour. We have a flat fee. And so it's really important to keep an eye on the profitability of all of our projects, all of our customers. So I really encourage project based businesses to do the exact same thing. I do look at my time reports, and inside of our timekeeping system, I'm able to put a cost per person. It gives me that profitability per job or really per phase if I want inside of my timekeeping system. And I make sure that the number that I'm using for the person's cost is called fully burdened. And what that means is it's marked up to cover overhead, general and administrative, and a little bit of a profit margin. We always want to build in that profit margin when we're pricing so that we make enough money to not only cover our expenses, but also to make a profit. That's the reason we're in business. We have to have profits to be able to fund the future growth of our business, to be able to grow. We don't want to just try to break even. We want to always have a profit. Same thing with our cash spend plan. We don't want to break even on our cash spend plan. We always want to be in the positive. We don't take it to zero. We make sure we have money left over at the end of every month so that we're building savings. One practical tip might be to put a line item. When I say give every dollar a name, put a line item in there and call it computer or whatever, because you want to save each month toward buying a new computer because you know your computers are going to be replaced eventually or whatever. So there's ways to do that and allocate it out. It's a budget, but it's a different type of budget, and it makes it very concrete. It's so much easier to budget when you know exactly where your money's going. It's not just going into this broad category of rent or office supplies or whatever. It's going to Office Depot, or it's going to your IT vendor or whatever. Just try those two things. If you're not looking at any of your numbers, those are the two things I would very quickly implement inside of your business. It's going to give you so much more control over your numbers. If you don't have visibility into your profitability, what changes need to happen inside of your systems to be able to get you that visibility? That's part 2 of this episode today. Is when we pull our profitability reports and we're able to see the end result of whether or not we're making a profit or a loss on our offers, or even on the company as a whole. If we just pull our P&L and we have a profit or a loss at the bottom and it's a loss, what information was missing last year, last quarter, last month? What information was missing when you priced your project that wound up being a loss? What happened to cause that project, that product, that offer to not be profitable? That's the introspection and the strategic thinking we need to do inside of our businesses to make better decisions next time. What information did you need that you didn't have readily available? That's what you should be looking at in your business. I hear this all the time from founders when they say, I don't know the questions to ask. I'm going to argue with you. I'm going to tell you, yes, you do. You know what data you need to make better pricing decisions in your business, better management decisions in your business. Whenever something goes sideways in our business, and yes, we make mistakes, things happen. The first thing I ask my team is, where did our communication break down? What happened in the process? How can we improve our system so that this doesn't happen again? We can apply that same principle to our numbers. Numbers are just numbers. So when our financial systems are set up to give us the data we need to make better business decisions, they become a lot less intimidating. They become a lot more useful. That's the hidden gold mine inside of your business that you're probably not tapping. And every business has financials. Why not make it useful? You have it anyway. You have to have it for your taxes. You have to have it for your lenders. You have to have it to run your business. Why not make it as useful as possible? That's one of the things I counsel my clients on, is let's make use of what you already have in your business to help you make more money. You already have it. Let's optimize it and make it work for you, even if you're profitable. So let's flip the switch a minute. Even if you're profitable, what led you to be profitable? Was it luck, or was it that you have the data you need to make better business decisions? And if you have that data, what would it take to make it even better? I'm going to challenge you today, founder. If you want to get your life back, you've got to make better business decisions, and you have to have the best data possible to do that. You already have the systems. They may not be optimized, they may not be up to date. You already have it. It's there. It's ready for you to make better business decisions. When we take the mystery out of the numbers, we make friends with our numbers. They are one of your biggest assets that's probably being totally underutilized. If something in this episode resonated with you, if it sounded very familiar, I want you to send me a text message and let me know what critical data that you're missing inside of your business that you wish you had. What is it you wish you would have known back when you were pricing your offers, or when you were negotiating with that last vendor, or when you were making that last hire? What is the data that you needed to make a better business decision? And what are you going to do about it? How are you going to make a change so that you learn from that mistake and make better decisions in the future? So text me. My direct number is 1-804-599-4400. If you happen to call that number, you're going to get my AI agent. Her name is Kayla. She's not going to let you talk to me. So just send me a text that comes directly to me. Send me a text message. Let me know what resonated. Let me know what data you're missing. Let me know what you wish you would have known, what you need to know to make better decisions in your business to get your daggone life back. It's time to feel empowered. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time.